So we've had our introductions and our welcome, and really this is the agenda for today. So it's about the next 45 minutes. We're going to be going through quite a few things. First of all, we're going to give you a preview of our new Parish Share video animation that's been recently produced. We showed this first of all on our Monday night prep webinar. So this is the second time we've aired it. It's not gone out to the public widely yet, but once you've seen it, if you do have any feedback on it, it would be great to receive that. Secondly, we'll be going through the background to the Parish Share Agreement meetings, why we're actually doing them. Apologies to those people who might have attended our briefing sessions back in June, because we'll be covering some of that information again. But some of you might not have been able to get to the briefing sessions. Then we'll be going into a bit more detail about about what's going to be involved in the Parish Share Agreement meetings, how they're going to run, and what kind of information that you'll need to prepare in advance. And don't worry about that. You've already prepared quite a lot of information and we've received it, but we'll let you know a bit more detail about that. Then I'll be telling you about some support that we're offering in October and November, the budget training sessions that we're developing for you. And then at the end, we'll have that good old-fashioned Q&A section where you'll be able to ask questions. So as we go through, if you want to put your questions in the chat, if you think of something, we can pick that up at the end. So great. So we'll kick off then with our Parish Share animation. So this animation is has been designed really to kind of try and explain a little bit more about what Parish Share is for, what it achieves, and also you know, how our Parish Share helps us to grow the kingdom of God in the Diocese of Leeds. So I hope you enjoy.
We'd like to say a big thank you for your contributions to Parish Share. We're so grateful for your generous giving and all you do in the service of Jesus Christ across the Diocese of Leeds. All your contributions go to parishes to keep the ministries of our churches running. Because of your giving, together we support sharing the good news of Jesus in nearly 600 churches across 440 parishes and 236 schools. Covering 2,425 square miles and with 2.6 million people, our diocese holds over 32,000 worshipping Christians, serving their parishes in cities, villages, and everywhere in between. And in all these places, we see signs of God at work. Your Parish Share contributions encourage confidence within our churches, so they may grow and help transform communities across our 5 episcopal areas. So, let's take a look at where the money goes, how it's spent and how it helps. The first bit of good news is that every penny you give is shared out so that every parish, regardless of its individual wealth, is supported in its ministry and mission. Every parish gives and every parish receives. Your Parish Share contributions enable local ministry to thrive by funding the work of your clergy. For every £100 spent by the diocese, £74 goes to pay stipends for clergy, fund their pensions and cover their housing and living costs. £9 goes towards specialist support for parishes provided by our church buildings, safeguarding, education and stewardship teams. Also from that £100, our ministry team receives £6 towards training curates and clergy and equipping people for lay leadership. This also supports children and youth work, outreach and environmental projects. The National Church receives £5 for ministry training, which is then received back as special grants to train ordinands. As a charity, it's important we have robust administration that is transparent and efficient. So £6 covers the cost of running our finance, legal, HR and IT departments. The balance of our overall income comes from rents, grants for specific projects from the church commissioners, and interest and dividends on our investments. If your church struggles to meet its parish share in full, please reach out for advice and support. Our stewardship team can help every congregation take a fresh look at its giving. Together, we can help you meet your challenges with confidence. Helping together is what Parish Share is all about. Every church is asked to give and every church receives, so that we can be confident Christians, grow our churches and transform our communities. Thank you for being a beacon of hope in the Diocese of Leeds and making a lasting impact. It's your generosity that makes the difference.
Hope you enjoyed that. Please do give us your feedback if you have any. We really welcome that. It's valuable for us. So moving on then, we're having a look now at the background to the Parish Share Agreement meetings. And as I said earlier, you may have heard some of this information before. If you would like to look at the briefing slides that we presented back in June, there's a link at the bottom of the slide there that you can click on when you receive the copies of this presentation. We'll be sending it round to you. But basically, the reason that we're changed our approach to Parish Share is because of three main factors. First of all, there's been some national recommendations from the Church of England. There's also the diocesan context, our financial context as a diocese. And also we've had a consideration of the parish context, so that we've looked and considered about the challenges that you're facing in your parishes. And these three areas have led us to change our approach in Parish Share. So if we look at the first one, the national recommendations, back in 2024, the National Church or the National Giving Team at the Church of England released a report called Parish Share, What Makes a Difference. So this report was based on a survey of the communications about Parish Share that were taking place right across the country in all of our 42 Anglican dioceses. So we were asking all of those dioceses, how do you talk about Parish Share? How do you manage your Parish Share? What happens about Parish Share in your diocese? And as a result of that survey and the responses that came back, this report was released. And there were three main takeaways that came out of that report. First of all, there was a real recommendation to take a multi-year approach with Parish Share. And what I mean by that is mainly around the consistency of the messaging around Parish Share. It's better to have a consistent message about Parish Share in all our communications and how we manage our Parish Share. So up until now, we've been doing an annual share request and sending that out to our parishes. We felt, though, that taking a multi-year approach, so having a 3-year parish share request that we can send out to our parishes, is a bit more consistent. It gives you the ability to plan ahead as well. And it's just more consistent in terms of communication and management. Secondly, the recommendation was to have a good communication plan in place. Well, we did have a clear timetable for parish share communications. We were releasing our communications every year about the parish share request. We were sending them out every year, but we felt that we could improve on that more, and we could, and as I say, having a 3-year communication plan around parish share agreements, we thought that was an improvement. And as you see as well, we've also developed that parish share animation. And there's other things that we're doing as well to improve our communication plan around parish share. Thirdly, and probably one of the most important recommendations, was the need to build stronger relationships with between diocese and parish. And this is not just for the Diocese of Leeds, but right across the Anglican dioceses in the country. Having more face-to-face events was something that we thought would be a good way to build better relationships between the diocese and our parishes, and also build trust. So that's another reason why our parish share agreement process is in place and why we're introducing that. Because we're going to come out, we're going to meet with you and have a chat with you, talk through, listen to your challenges, what you have to say about what's going on in your parish. And by listening to you, we will hope to support you better in your parish share. So that's the three main recommendations. As I say, if you want to have more information and a bit more in-depth discussion about that, you can look back at the slides that we delivered back in June and the briefing sessions. So I'm now going to hand back to Anne, And she's going to carry on with some of these other factors for why we've changed our parish share approach.
Wonderful, thank you. So the next one of our three reasons was the diocesan context. So for the last year or so, the Diocese of Leeds has had an annual operating deficit of approximately £2 million. So this slide is about what is the Diocese of Leeds doing about that. The first thing, the Diocesan Finance Review. This was the National Church holding a review in July, the outcome of which is that all dioceses across the country are going to get some additional funding to help with increased costs, such as to help with the clergy uplift to the stipends of 9%. We're also looking to invest strategically. So this is Barnabas and other strategic programs to help support parish missional and financial strength in the long term. Property development, well, that includes selling properties. It's obviously not sustainable in the long run, but very positive in the short term. Cost control is about reducing our expenses. This has led to us becoming one of the most cost-efficient dioceses in the country, and a lot of our new positions are paid for by external grants. Lastly, we're going to be looking at the Parish Share Agreement process, and that is, of course, what we're discussing today. So next we look at the parish the parish context. So for local context, as you are all aware, high levels of inflation and the cost of living has meant that parish finances have been under increased pressure. So in 2024, this graph shows that total contributions across the diocese were £11.7 million. So that's the blue line. If this figure had kept pace with inflation, then it would have been up to £18 million now. So there is quite a gap there that we would like to try and fix there. So in response to these contexts, we are introducing the Parish Share Agreement meetings. These meetings were going to last approximately an hour and 15 minutes, and they're going to give us the chance for face-to-face discussions and an opportunity to listen to your individual parish circumstances, including your finances. Our aim is to be able to offer stewardship help where needed, and then be able to agree on your parish share request. So looking forward to our meeting, the good news is that you as churches have already provided so much data to us that we're going to use as much of it as we can. I'm really keen in this process not to create any unnecessary work for anyone. So we're only going to ask you to provide extra information if we don't hold that most recent financial information. So this checklist shows the data that I'm going to be looking at. So your return of parish finance and your statistics for mission, well, you've all submitted those already, so that's fantastic. Your accounts and annual reports and quinquennial reports should, in theory, be on our system already. What we'll do is, for those of you who have booked onto your PSA meetings, I've sent a confirmation email of that booking, listing what information we have for you and what information we still need. Please do check that information and let us know about any obvious errors or omissions. I unfortunately can't change the data, but we can take it into account for our meeting. So it's really important that we do have the up-to-date data. Just as an aside here, in our planning work, we've noticed that quite a few of the QI reports on our system are not the most recent ones. Now, there could be a lot of reasons for this, such as not having an architect or just simply not having uploaded your latest QI report. If there's a reason for a delay in the QI reports, please let us know. That might just help with the planning. Okay, so moving on to the next piece of information that I'm going to request and you won't have provided yet. And this is your church budget. So if you already have a church budget, please do send that in to us ahead of your PSA meeting. That will really help. If not, we would encourage you to prepare one, and we will be providing some training to help you do this. As we're moving to a 3-year parish share request, we would encourage you therefore to reflect this in creating a 3-year church budget. Don't worry, don't panic. We are providing some training on this, and Janet will talk about that a little bit later. So, in our PSA meeting, we'll cover the following things. Now, Beth has already mentioned that in your meeting, it will be myself and either Janet or Beth. So you've already met us, which is wonderful. In the meeting itself, we'll be considering all of the above elements when it comes to discussing your parish share request. Hopefully that will give us lots of parish context. We're going to start all of our meetings with just a time of us listening to you, to information about your church, what's important for your church, and what's going on. We'll be offering support and discussing what particular support your church might need or benefit from. We'll have a look at your church budget if it's been provided. If not, again, we'll encourage you to go to the training to help you if that's something you need. We'll also talk about a number of other things, such as any details of your funds held, total number of planned givers, and obviously any costs of outstanding repairs or concerns about your buildings. We know that this is a big one for a lot of our churches and parishes with such beautiful old buildings that we've inherited. And of course, we will be talking about your 3-year parish share requests, and hopefully we'll be coming to an agreement with that as well. So just to cover a few things, we're going to be looking at the 3-year period of 2026 to 2028. To facilitate this, we're going to be sending out your 3-year share request in the following week. So this means that for Pontefract Deanery, we're going to send your requests out early. Everyone else in the diocese will get their requests sent at the end of October as usual, although they will all be sent a 3-year share request as well. I have been told to let you know, please don't worry if at the end of October you receive a second parish share request. I think it's just one of those admin things where it all goes out in bulk, so please don't panic. After the meeting, we'd love it if you could go back to your PCC and ask them to pass a resolution agreeing to the share requests that we discussed in your meeting. We think it's really vital that the PCC is on board with this process. They are the legal entity that makes up your church, and they should be involved in and made aware of all financial decisions relating to them. Lastly, once we've held all of the meetings for your deanery, we're going to be going back to your archdeacon and to our chief financial officer just to confirm all of the agreements and to discuss any that we've not been able to come to an agreement with. This is so that there's some accountability in the process, and so that you know and I know that it's fair right across the diocese. Okay, I've spoken for quite a bit now, so I'm going to hand over to Janet, and she can let you know about the budget planning and training sessions that we're preparing for you.
Thanks, Anne. So, church budget planning. We're going to be doing some sessions in October and November. And some of you might have seen this if you were at the Treasury Forum meeting on Tuesday evening. So why do we have budget planning? And why are we suggesting to do 3 years of budget planning? Well, first of all, we thought it would be beneficial for you at least to do a 1-year budget plan. But 3 years would be even more beneficial, considering that we're going to be moving over to the 3-year parish share agreement process. What you can see in here is an example of a budget template. And you can see on the left-hand side, there's an income column and an expenditure column. It's mentioned at the bottom there. And then we've got actuals, figures for 2023, 24, then an estimate for 25, and then your budget plan for the next 3 years, 26 to 28. So this is an example of a template that we're going to be actually sending out to you when you receive your parish share parish share requests. We'll send out a copy of this budget template as well. And you can use this budget template if you would like to. You may already have something that you're using and that you're happy with. So there's no obligation to use this one. It's merely a tool that you can use if it would be helpful for you. But in the budget training sessions, we'll be actually using this template to talk you through how you can use the template, what are the kind of best ways to think about planning your budget for the next year and for the next 3 years. We'll be talking through all of that process, and we'll be providing other guidance and resources that will help you with that forecasting. Why is it important to actually have a budget plan in the first place? Well, I've been assured by one of our treasurer ambassadors that it will really help you to estimate for the coming year how much income your church will bring in and what your outgoings are expected to be. But it will also help you to determine what your mission is going to be and what you can achieve. There's no use planning major activities without knowing where or considering where the funding is going to come from. And then going forward, as I said, with that 3-year budget plan, it will be essential in the long run to help inform your share discussions. If you've not got a 3-year plan, don't worry. But if you do have a 3-year plan, it will help in our discussions about the parish share agreements. When should you develop a plan? Well, I think from what our treasurer ambassador was saying, probably around about now in the autumn. So you're planning for the following year. So think about that if you haven't already thought about a plan for 2026. So although we'll be running the training sessions, that's not all that the support we'll be offering. If you come along to training sessions, great, but if you don't and you still need support, or if you've been to the training sessions and you feel that you still need support, we do have our parish support accountant, Jenny Robinson, and she will be available to arrange one-to-one discussions with you, which you can do in person or by a Zoom session as well. So there's lots of support available for the budget planning. And these are the dates that at the moment we've organised for the budget training sessions. So you can see there's a couple of dates in October and there's also a couple of dates in November. Going forward, we're hoping to do a couple of sessions every month. So if you can't make any of these ones, don't worry. We'll be running them in January and February throughout next year. We're not doing anything in December for obvious reasons, but you can see here that there's some links and where you can register for the training. When you receive the PDF of this presentation, you'll be able to click on those links if you want to book a session. Okay. Back to Anne for this section.
Wonderful. So this is a timeline of our next steps. So within the next week, we're going to be sending you your 3-year parish share requests. These next 2 steps, I think most of you in this meeting have already done actually, which is fantastic. And those are to decide who's going to attend your PSA meeting and to book onto your chosen date and location. And I know that I've sent out emails to everyone who has booked now, just to confirm the financial data that we have on you and anything else that we need. So your next steps after you receive that email is to check all of that financial data, to send me your church budgets if that's something that you have, and any further information. we'd ask that you'd send that at least 2 weeks before your meeting to give us a chance to properly have a look at it and consider it. Then you'll have your PSA meeting. After that, you can pass your PCC resolution. And then finally, after all of our deanery meetings, we will be reviewing the outcomes of that. Now, our follow-up support will then be ongoing. You already have access to the stewardship team, but during your meeting, we will be suggesting particular types of support that you may wish to access, and that follow-up support then will be ongoing. Okay, so the last thing to say really is to say thank you and that we are here to help. So as you can see, that's a picture of the three of us here on this meeting, as well as our parish support accountant, Jenny. And I promise you in real life, she does smile, just apparently not in pictures, but she is lovely. And if you do need any one-to-one support with your budgeting, you can contact her on that email and we can set that up. Okay, then. So the last thing I think is our question and answer session. Now, just to mention before we kick that off, is that there is a link here. So when you get the slides, there's a link to the frequently asked questions that we prepared for the briefing meetings. And so that will take you to some further questions there. But for now, it's time for us to stop talking and time to give you all space to ask any questions that you might have of us and of the process.
Great, thank you very much, Anne. So we're back to seeing everybody now, which is good. So I'm going to be sharing any questions that come up. I'm just having a quick look in the chat. I see that there isn't anything in the chat regarding questions. So perhaps you've had a think as you've seen the presentation, you might have some questions. Pat has asked a question. I see that you are sending out the parish share request before we have done.
Yeah, that's correct. So we will be sending out the parish share requests in the next week, and everyone else in the diocese will receive them at the end of October, as they would have done previously. So what will happen is those parish share requests are going to be the start, the base for our conversation when we have our PSA meetings. And once you've provided your budget for us, then we will be able to look and see, is that parish share request that is sent out, is that reasonable for your church? Is that a fair and achievable amount? And then hopefully we will be able to put an agreement in place that is fair and achievable for your church and parish.